I hate my natural hair. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to wash it. It takes too long. It's too thick. There's too much. It makes me feel ugly and insecure, and I wish I had a looser curl pattern. If you had asked teenage Jasmine how she felt about her natural hair, that is exactly what she would have said. Society does not treat Black women with 4C hair well at all. And honestly, if I had my hair out for longer than a certain period of time before getting a protective style, I would feel so ugly and insecure with my natural hair out, and I wouldn't want to go out and see anybody or do anything. And this was really difficult for me growing up. In middle school and early high school, I had a relaxer, and then during the natural hair movement, I had very short-lived confidence because I saw that the people at the forefront of the natural hair movement did not have the same hair texture as I did. There was a lot of tears and a lot of fighting with my hair and lots of insecurities, but I'm really happy to say that I've gotten to a place where I don't hate it anymore and I don't think it's ugly. However, I'm still a human being and I still have moments of insecurity and I still have much to work on when it comes to loving my natural hair. But if you have the same hair texture as I do, please note that the hair that literally grows out of your scalp is absolutely beautiful and you should not hate it. I think it's really helpful to follow people that have the same hair texture as you and to see other people embrace it. Because when you see other people loving their hair, it's really inspiring and should inspire you to love your hair as well. You are beautiful in your natural state and don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Can we talk about hair for a second? 4C hair specifically. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but sometimes, and by sometimes I mean this is a baseline feeling and I just avoid it by wearing long protective styles and wigs, I hate my natural 4C hair. Like, immense and intense frustration and hate towards it. Like the fact that you have to do a whole procedure to wash it and then another one to stretch it before finally doing the style you actually want to do. And then there's a 50% chance it won't turn out the way you want, so you end up feeling ugly. But I don't know, maybe it's just me.
You probably gonna be mad at me, but I gotta say the quiet part out loud. Most Black women are hiding this one thing: they hate their hair. I know it's a touchy subject. Listen, I'm only talking about this because I was number one. I hated my hair the most. I not only hated my hair, I hated everything about myself. When I was young, I hated my skin color. I thought I was too dark. I hated my hair. It was 4C and I didn't know what to do with it. I hated my height. I hated my lips. I hated my thighs. I thought they was a little too thick. I like them now. But literally, I hated every single thing on myself, head to toe. And that's its own thing. But culturally, I believe a lot of us Black women have been brainwashed to hate our hair. I only went natural because I was forced to, because something crazy happened when I took some braids out and I had to cut all my hair off. And I just went natural after that. But for a year and a half of being natural, I hated it. I slapped a wig on it. I slapped all kind of braids in it. I did not want to see my hair. God had to sit me down, make me stand in the mirror and see the beauty in my hair. I had to say out loud that I love myself and I love my hair and I love how God created me. It wasn't easy, but I stood there in that mirror and I boohoo cried because I was confused. I'm like, God, you say you love me, but I hate what you created. And that's hard, being that real with yourself, realizing that what you see with your eyes is not what you see on TV, is not what you see in magazines, is not what you see promoted as beautiful. And if it is a Black woman in a movie, she usually is just loud and the most unattractive figure in the whole movie. And I'm probably going to get a lot of comments saying, why is this your business? And people always trying to police Black women hair. But I'm only saying this from experience. And I know this because not only myself, but other Black women that I know, that we genuinely, if you ask us deep down, we hate our hair. We can say it's because we like to switch it up. We can say it's because it's hard to style, which it is. But deep down, we prefer someone else's texture. It's a big subject. It's a very touchy subject. Every person is different. But I know by and large, we have not grown up to accept our hair. We haven't grown up to even know our hair. A lot of us, when we were kids, we had perms. So you grew up not even knowing your real hair. And it's funny because sometimes I would turn on the TV, and even if I did see a Black girl that they wasn't trying to make super outrageous, ridiculous, most likely she would have a wig on. If I look on a picture on Instagram and I just scroll and scroll, 9 out of 10 of the women on there do not have their real hair. And I'm not saying that you can't ever wear a wig. I've worn plenty of wigs. And sometimes if I need a break, I'm going to put some braids in my hair. But I want us to sit down and ask ourselves a question like, if 90% of the time you do not see my real hair, what is the problem? It's nothing wrong with wearing the makeup and the hair and everything, but do you really love yourself deep down? And that's something I had to challenge myself on. That's something God challenged me on. And when He stripped it all away, I realized that I didn't. And He had to build that back up, in which I loved myself. So I challenge you to think about it. Do you really love yourself? And I mean your natural, raw self.
Hello, I'm really happy to see you here. Call me Sandy, and on this channel, we talk about anything and everything. So, today's video is a very broad topic, and I decided to talk about this because I also have natural hair and I've been through struggles myself, and I can relate to some of the things that the ladies are talking about, and some of them not so much. But overall, I just wanted to also share my opinions and thoughts about this particular topic that is going around everywhere, and everybody is talking about it. So yeah, let's talk about it. So as I already said, this is a very broad topic that I don't even know where to start from, but I'm going to start by saying this. Ever since I was a child, I never really had hair on top of my head. Not that I was bald or I had alopecia or any kind of hair disease or anything like that. It wasn't by choice. It was my parents' decision and school. So where I am, kids in public schools are not supposed to have hair on their head. You can have hair, it just shouldn't be like over 2 inches long. 2 inches is even like too long. You need to have like 1 inch or lesser than 1 inch, maybe 2 centimeters worth of hair on your head. Kids in private schools are allowed to grow out their hair, get braids, grow out their natural hair, have hairstyles, perms, all of that. Back in the day, perms were all the rave. So when I was younger, I was in a private school, so I had the choice or the option. I had the option to braid my hair and all of that, or keep it short. Boys always had to keep their hair short, no braids, no nothing. But girls, you could braid your hair and all of that if you were in a private school. Now, I was in a private school when I was young, but it's also up to your parents because you're young. You cannot decide those things for yourself. So your parents need to decide for you if they want you to keep your hair, like grow out your hair, or just like cut it every month or so. My mom always had permed hair. She never wanted to deal with her natural hair. She, to this day, still really hates her natural hair. And well, it's a personal choice. You cannot really talk someone into loving their hair. So I'm going to leave that at that like that. And I'm going to focus more on my perspective or how I see things now. So my mom always had permed hair. With that, I think that was because she knew how difficult it was to maintain natural hair. And back in the day, she didn't have the time to maintain her natural hair as a single mom and all of that. But also, she also really hated natural hair. So she never really wanted to deal with it. Talk of deal with her daughter's natural hair. Also, it didn't come cheap. It wasn't cheap. It came at a price. Growing out your hair is expensive. You have to get braids for your kids because people here, a lot of parents here do not know how to braid hair. Even we now, we still don't know how to braid hair. You always have to go to the salon to keep up hairstyles, get your hair braided, washing, all of that. A lot of people go to salons to get those things done. So it is not cheap to have hair on your head. So my mom just decided, okay, I'm not ready to deal with her hair, and I'm not ready to pay the cost that it comes with having someone to deal with your daughter's hair. So we're just gonna cut it. And I kept doing that ever since I was a child till I turned 18. Yeah. I could go on and on and on about this, but I'll just try to keep it short. So I had a best friend back when I was a child. She had hair on her head. It was permed, but it was still hair, and that's all that mattered to me. And back in the day, perms were everything. So I would see my friend always go to the salon. Sometimes I would even go with her and I would watch as her hair got done. Like they washed her hair, retouched the roots, and she was always looking good. And I always had like this bald head, and it was just like a low for me. I was very insecure because I had a long head. I still have a long head, but I have hair covering it now, and that's like the most important thing to me right now. So I was very insecure as a child. I didn't even know what that meant as a child, but I always knew my friend has this. Why can't I have that? And she was always getting her hair done, and she had little beads in her hair. She always looked so colorful, and I just looked bald like a boy. And it was just so upsetting to me. So I developed this strategy. Every time she went to the salon, she had this relaxer UM 717. Sometimes she would use UB, but UB is not for kids' hair, but sometimes she would use that when she didn't have the 717. And every time she would go to the salon to retouch her roots, I would go with her. When she comes back home, I would let her perm my 2 centimeters short hair or 3 centimeters hair on my head. And I always wanted to look so bad, like hair, like just have hair on my head. That was like everything. That was all I wanted at that age. And I couldn't get that, even with the perm. But the perm made it better because it was like I felt like I was getting closer to her, or I looked like her because I had permed hair on my head. And it just felt the same, like washing your hair got soft and it just laid down. You know how natural hair is. Even if you lay your edges, it still doesn't lay down like how you want it to, unless you use expensive products. Normally, all the gels that I have tried, they don't keep your hair down how for a long period of time. So I became really addicted to perms. I always wanted to have a perm. Once my roots grew out, I would get a perm. My mom didn't really want me to be doing that, but it was more like she couldn't stop me. I would do it without her knowing, and then it would be on my head. So the only thing she could do was cut my hair, and I cannot go lower than 2 centimeters. So she would just leave that on my head, and it would grow out, and then I would go and get the haircut, and then it would be natural hair on my head again. Then I would perm it again, and that cycle just kept repeating itself. And especially when it was our day, we have this thing we call our day here. When every semester or every term ends, there's like a celebration slash party thrown for the kids where they bring their food from home or food that they bought. They get dressed and there's music, just like to have fun at the end of the term before vacation, before you start the next term. And my friend would always get her hair done, and I would just envy her every time. She was like my friend. We were really, really close, but I still envied her. Like she always had the luxurious things. She had toys. I didn't have any of that. I always went to her house to play because she had the best things. I had nothing. Growing up, I had nothing. She had all the nice clothes. She had the hair. She was living my dream life at that age. So I was a little envious. Should I say a little? I don't really remember much. I just remember wanting her life so bad at that age, but I couldn't get it, and there was nothing I could do about it than to emulate her lifestyle, like imitate her, do things that she does. So on our day, I remember on our day, we call it our day because it was our day. She would get all these nice hairstyles and nice clothes, and I just had to wear what I had, and my hair was very short and big, and it was just very not pleasant at that age. If I have a picture of when I was young, I will pop it here. So I couldn't find the picture. Anyways, let's move on. I also do remember my mom saying, always telling me that she didn't like kids who had hairstyles at their age. It made them look grown when they were in reality just children. And also, it fries your brain, is what she always used to say. She always used to say, the relaxer fries the brains of kids, and those tight hairstyles always tightens their minds. I don't know why she puts it that way, but that's what she always said, that it made them dumber because of the tight hairstyles, and it just like takes their concentration from what they should actually be focusing on, which is their school and studies, and then make them worry about something that they shouldn't even have to worry about. I do get all of that, but now that I'm grown, but back when I was young, I just didn't understand that. It didn't make any sense to me. And I also feel like that is not like the only reason. There are other deeper reasons which I already stated, which is that she didn't like 4C hair because putting up with perms was something she was not going to be doing, like retouching my roots every 2 weeks or every 1 month. There was no way she was going to be paying for all of that. So yeah, on those days what we call our day, my friend would get a perm, then I would let her use her remaining relaxer to perm my hair. And because it was like directly touching my scalp, I would always end up with sores on my scalp. But I was like, nope, beauty is pain, and I understand that, and I'm willing to pay the cost. So I always had sores on my head when I was bathing. It was always so painful, but I still went along with the perm because I just wanted something on my head, so people don't always focus on how big my head was. So that's a little bit of what I went through, or my relationship with my hair at such a young age. This was around the ages of 7 to 10. I was still pretty young back then, and I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I did, but not like really knew what I was doing. I'm sharing this background history with you guys so you know where I came from, because it would make a lot more sense when I talk about my experience with my hair currently, and you would know and understand it so much better because you know about my past history with my hair. So I'm thinking this video would be a two-part series, where the first part being this will be about my history with my hair and how I feel about my hair currently, and the second part will actually be about my struggles with my hair ever since I went natural and started growing out my hair after school and all of that. So back to the story. So this was between 7 to 10 years old, where I was doing all of that perm. So I went to a government school. After that, I moved away from my friend I used to learn all these perms from and all of that. I moved away from her. We became not friends like that because I was away, so far away from her. And I was living with my grandma at this time, so no perms for me. Nothing to do with my hair. She was really big on haircuts and all of that because she herself had a haircut at her age. I mean, she still has a haircut. And I didn't have access to perms, relaxers, I mean, and anything of that sort. It was just school. And government schools have a zero tolerance policy for those kind of things. No braids, no hair growing out of your scalp above 2 inches. 2 inches is even very long. Maybe an inch and a half at most. So I didn't have any of this, and I had no choice but to go natural. Not that I was even going natural because I had any hair on my head. It was just baldness. So yeah, I went through that. Not too long after that, I came back to my old school, which was a private school, and by this time I felt I had grown. I was around 12 to 13. I had seen my first period and all of that. My little brother was born and all of that. And there was way more things to worry about than hair. So I didn't have any time to like really get into the whole perm thing and all of that. My friends still had a perm and everything, but I didn't, that wasn't any of my concern at the time. I had a lot of my plate. So I think I just kind of grew out of the whole perm thing because ever since after that, I never had a perm again till I completed high school. High schools, unless it's a private high school, yes, you can get your hair braided. It's the same as grade school and all of that. We call it primary school. But I think my friend actually ended up getting a haircut too when it was time for her to go to high school. So she cut the permed hair off, and it was also very low. And she went to school with it because most government schools, high schools, don't tolerate that. And private high schools are quite expensive. Not quite, really expensive. So she went to a government high school, which is very common here. There are like way more government high schools than private high schools, and it's like really normal. So she went to one of those schools, and they don't tolerate, since they don't tolerate growing out hair, she had to cut it. So that's when she also cut her hair. And I mean, it's only for 3 years. After high school, you're done. You can do whatever you want with your hair. With that being said, nobody actually focuses on their hair in high school, and it's just you're just trying to get through school because high school can be a lot, and there's just so much that goes on there, and your hair would probably be the least of your concerns, unless you're like boy crazy in high school. Then yeah, you're trying to. But even with that, I think there were so many things. I always ended up growing out my hair for like 2 inches, 3 inches. Okay, no, definitely not up to 3 inches, but like 2 inches, 2.5 inches, and it is considered unprescribed in school. And teachers would always be chasing us down. And there was this thing where they used to do, they take his scissors. When your hair is bushy, they take your scissors and put it through your hair, like it gets as low as possible, and they just cut a portion. And when that is done, it becomes so ugly that you have to go and get a haircut. And the haircut has to be as low as the scissors went. Now that all of those things are traumatic, oh my gosh. They're so traumatizing. I never experienced that. No teacher actually put a scissors through my hair. But I witnessed a lot of people go through that, and it was not pleasant. Like, how can you take a scissors and put it through somebody's hair? Someone's hair. Like, how dare you? But that is what we're dealing with in high school. In high school, here is not something to be taken lightly. Like, teachers are to be respected. Teachers are big and mighty. Nobody can say anything. Who are you going to complain to? So if you know what is best for you, you just keep your hair low, stay out of a teacher's sight, unless you're a favorite, and you'll be good. Just get good grades and all of that. Even if you're getting bad grades, just like be that one kid that no teacher has anything bad to say about. I think I even have a picture of back when I was in school. I took this picture with my friends one time when we had a practical or something. I'll put the picture right here. So this was the picture we took in our second year or final year, one of those. And this was as high as your hair could grow, which is very, very low. But this was as much hair as you could have on your head in high school, or even through primary school, through to JHS and all of that. And as you can see, this is very, very low. So yeah, I think I did texturize my hair once I completed high school. An auntie introduced me to a texturizer, said it would make your hair softer and all of that. Back then, I didn't know it was a texturizer. I just knew it was some kind of natural hair relaxer, which doesn't actually relax your hair. I was like, oh, cool. So I tried it. It made my hair really curly. It was good. And I was like, oh, I really liked it. But after a few months, I didn't like it as much. So I just let my hair grow out. And, when your hair grows out and you don't perm the roots, the permed hair on top of the natural hair breaks off. And that's what happened. It broke off because it wasn't strong enough. Anyways, that was my hair ever since I was a child through till high school, till I completed high school. And that has been my experience with hair. So right now, I'm just currently very happy to even have hair on my head. I I'm just like really grateful. I'm really, really grateful to have hair on my head. So I don't see where hatred will come in. I will insert pictures of my hair after high school and how happy I was to have this length of hair on my head, like treating it. I was just so happy when I got my first braids because I've never really had the chance to do any of that. I was just so really, really happy and grateful that I had something to cover my head, and it was hair growing out of my scalp. I remember back when I was younger, I would really, when I was going to take a shower, I would cosplay and put a towel on my head and pretend it was my hair, and I'd just be flipping it back. And I just It was like my dream to finish school and then just have hair on my head. So I was just grateful at that time to just have hair on my head, and I was just willing to deal with the struggles that it came with because I knew I had seen videos after school, I had seen videos and all of that. Even back in school, I had seen videos of people with their natural hair and seen my friends get braids and how they would just be flicking their hair backwards. All of those things, I had seen all of those things and I was prepared, really, really mentally prepared to deal with my hair, let it grow. There's nothing like wigs for me and covering my hair because I didn't like it. On the contrary, I actually really liked my hair, but I remember borrowing a wig from a friend to wear, and I wouldn't say I didn't like it. I did like the wig, but I didn't like that it wasn't mine, if it makes sense. No, actually, I did think it looked mature on me. It made me look older like than I was because with the natural hair I looked cute, I looked like a teenager, I looked like a child. You know how people say natural hair is childish. I don't believe any of that, but it can give you the essence of like cuteness and have this playfulness to you. So when I put the wig on, it just took that away and made me look older than I actually was, which was 17 turning 18. And I wouldn't say I didn't like that, but it just was some type of way to me. But anyway, I didn't keep that wig for long. I would like to elaborate more on this particular one next in the next series, which is going to be the second part to this, where I talk about my struggles with my natural hair and the wig culture and all of that. That would be in the second part to this video. So for now, yeah, this is where I end this particular video. The next one will be coming out soon. I hope you enjoyed me sharing my story time and my history with my hair and how I have been able to grow it up to this point and still not permed it, even though I've had temptations. I still have my natural hair on my head. Anyways, I hope this story time wasn't too long and boring. Thank you for sticking around to the end and stay tuned for the sequel that will be coming out soon. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.